Hey gamers, Guilty here, and this is part 2 to the hospital in the other world. So we just defeated Flesh Lips, and this is the other half of the level. In the first room you'll find a note on the wheelchair. There are some items scattered in that side of the room, but once you get them all, continue down this hall, and to the left here is where you want to go, and go onto the second floor, and this is where you'll find your first puzzle up here. After you exit the elevator, there's a box you need to reveal which has 3 different locks on it. So you'll see you need 1 key and 2 lock combinations, and you can get this in any order, but for the sake of this video I'm going to do it in this one. So first, if you go left, enter this room here and you'll eventually come across a nurse. Once you defeat her, shortly after behind her you'll find another mannequin you'll need to defeat as well. Where the woman's locker is, there's a secret room with extra supplies in it as well. And when you gathered all of that, come down to the stairs here on the map, and we're going to go up to the 3rd floor. And in this video I'm not going to show you where all the supplies are, I'm just going to focus on the main objectives. So when you come up the stairs, continue down here until you come across a mannequin. So if you play with its arms, you'll notice you can actually remove one of them, but you'll need the instrument of force, which is left of the mannequin. And use that on the arm and you can just remove it. And the second part is just to move the mannequin arm up, and you'll need to find another instrument to go into the eye socket. Now turn around and you're going to continue through this path here. There's a few enemies just on the hallway, so take them out, and there's a mannequin as well, so be careful of him or her. Optionally, in the D3 room you'll find another mannequin and some more supplies, but that's optional. After defeating that mannequin I just showed you, you can crack the wall right next to it. And through this wall you can find a little ladder that drops down to another floor. Stay vigilant down here because there are a whole bunch of nurses, lying figures and mannequins in this area. Use a map to navigate to the restroom, and this is where you'll find most of the goodies. And eventually you'll come to the cafeteria after a few more enemies, and within the storage room you'll find 3 more here. 1 should be a nurse and 2 more mannequins, but at the end of the room you'll find a crack in the wall, and this is where you'll find your key. Now this is a key of bliss. It isn't for that locked box, but instead for that mannequin we saw earlier. The door next to you will lead back to the surgical chair in exam room 4. So all we need to do is use a key of bliss on the eye, and this will get us another key, and this is the one we need for that locked chest. The lapis eye key. So heading back to the chained box, this door will automatically open once you get the lapis key, and you just have to simply go to that locked box and then use the item on the middle lock. Okay, that's the first chain released. So you can see that's now released, and we need 2 more. So for the second one, we can follow the chain through these double doors here. And you're going to actually climb up this box towards another room. And when you climb over here, you can't actually go back the same way, so make sure you have all the stock you need. And eventually you'll come across next to the men's locker a clock. And just be careful, because once you do this, 2 nurses and a lying figure will spawn. So you want to straighten the needle on the clock and rotate it towards the 2. Now get ready, because you will get ambushed. Once they're defeated, you can head into this room, but to get in there you'll need to go around and break the wall nearby. Now this is a bit of a puzzle room because we need to work out the 4-digit code. The clue is actually on this book here. So the first number is 1 year that they've been watching. So many pills they fed me. When a loud hour comes, and I tremble every time the lights fall. So that's the order of the digits. So we know that the first number is 1, and then it talks about the pills. If we count the pills, there's 6 of them. So 1, 6. The third line talks about the clock. And if you look at that, we put it towards the 2. So 1, 6, 2. And finally, if you count the blinks of the light, it should be 2. And if you want to double check, just wait a second time, it'll always blink twice. So 1622 is the code. Now we can't go back the way we came, but if you head towards this way, there might be a lying figure over here. It could have already been defeated during the ambush. But once that's gone, you can head towards the nearby door and you'll be in familiar territory now. Now again at the chained box, use the code 1622 on this lock and you'll unlock the second chain. Now all we have to do is find that third combination. And to do that, it's in that hallway over here. So we're going to head over to the right side of the map on the second floor. And we need to head into this little hole here. But to do so, we need to find a box to move so we can actually get into that hole. If you continue, you'll find a nurse in the restroom. And there's some supplies in here worth getting. And another nurse later on in the hallway. And I showed you this in a different walkthrough, but if you sneak up behind her without running, you can get a free hit on her without using any ammo. And next to you, you'll find the director's office, but you'll need a key. So we can turn around and break the wall, and this is where we'll find a box you need to climb for that window I showed you earlier. So in here, you'll find a few enemies. But once you defeat them, you'll eventually come across this bookshelf, which you can move, and you're back in the hallway with that window. So all we need to do is grab this box here and move it towards that window, and you'll know you're in the right position because the arms of it will lock in place. So it'll automatically lock in place there, and now we can climb into the room, and this is where we'll find the key for the director's office. There's plenty of enemies in here, so watch out. And you'll be where this radio is from the last part of the hospital, you'll remember that. And now you have the key for the director's office, but before we leave, inside the drawer to the left here, you'll find a photograph, and this is optional only if you're collecting all 26 of them. Now back at the director's office, we can finally unlock the room, and there's lots of supplies within this area. So before you climb the ladder, make sure you check every nook and cranny. And when you're ready, climb that ladder, and we're heading up to the 3rd floor. Now this is actually where you defeated Flesh Lips. You'll recognize the room once you walk in here. And this is our next puzzle. We'll need to turn on the generator. Just follow the red wire and you'll eventually get there. There's a few enemies along the way. There'll be this nurse here, followed by a lying figure and a second nurse. And you'll find the generator once you walk around the confinement. Simply turn on the generator, and to get back you can turn around and you'll find this little escape hole. There's a note on the floor there, but if you unlock this door and head back to the generator, turn it on, and then the code for the lock would be 9659. So we can go back here on the 2nd floor and insert that code. 9659. Now you've scored the negative elevator button, and you can use that to get to the basement. So head back to the elevator to the right, and you're going to put it in the panel of the elevator. Now once you enter the elevator, there will be a long kind of quiz game, and the answers for the quiz is 67, which is the 2nd choice, Wilsty Road, which is the 3rd choice, and Miriam, which is the 1st choice. So if you remember that, that will be 2, 3, 1. Now that we're in the basement, you'll find a nurse to the left here, and behind her there's a set of rooms which has more supplies, but that's completely optional. If you turn around here, this is where you have to go. So it's a pretty linear path here, so it won't take too long, but you're going to eventually come across the pump room after many rooms. And this is where you'll find your copper ring. And also, you'll reunite yourself with Mary. I meant Maria.
James.
But you're going to use the staircase in the basement to get to the 1st floor. And here is where some dialogue happens, and through a long windy route through the pool rooms and the other different rooms around the area, you'll come across the doctor's lounge. And this is where you'll find your second ring. A quick cutscene will play trying to lift this up. And you've got the lead ring now. So head to your right, and then you can go through these doors here to get back to where you need to go. There's a save point to the right, and you'll be back to where you started this little level in the other world. So you're going to call the elevator to the left. And while you're waiting for that, you may as well check the room nearby. And remember that quiz game? Well, now we can insert the code. So it was 2, 3, 1, and you'll get 2 shotgun shells and then 2 syringes. Now we're going to head back to the second floor. And we're going to use those 2 rings on that little carving that we saw after we unlocked that locked chest.
James?
What's wrong?
Let's just get out.
After the cutscene, it's pretty linear from here. You can save at a nearby save point, but it's pretty hard to get lost. And this is where you'll have a running sequence with Pyramid Head.
Run!
And this isn't too hard, you just have to hold the run button and it kind of guides you where to go. Just make sure you jump over this little wardrobe here.
An elevator!
Now after the pretty tragic cutscene, we'll be back on the first floor where we can finally exit this hospital once and for all. The front door's right here, but now we just need to find a key to unlock it. So we need to navigate ourselves to the reception office. Most of the ways will be blocks in the other world, but if you come across this key here in the reception office, you'll find a little book. You'll also see the little child running away. Back at the front door, we can use that key to unlock, and that's the end of the hospital. If you like this video, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!